Hey everybody, this video is sponsored by A Good Beer After Work, folks. A Good Beer After Work is a brand new company that ships beer directly to your house. You can customize, I'm just kidding. Welcome back to The P Perspective. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope that you are hungry because today we're gonna be talking about one of the world's biggest franchises and a rebrand that just happened recently, and that is Burger King.
Have it your way, have it your way, have it your way at Burger King.
On January 8th, Burger King unveiled to the world out of nowhere, out of, the cosmos, a new brand. And so today we're going to talk about it. So if you're hungry, if you like nostalgia, you're going to love this video, so stick around. Let's begin. Welcome back, y'all. We have a lot to talk about. Burger King has rebranded on January 8th. They unveiled to everybody their brand new identity, and to be honest, I'm a fan. Now, the trend overall that we're seeing, Pizza Hut did it recently, and now Burger King, and honestly, a lot of other brands are doing it, but they're playing to that something inside of you thing called nostalgia, right? It's that thing inside of you that when you see that old logo and you're just like, man, it reminds you of simpler times, which makes a lot of sense because we're living in very uncertain times.
During these uncertain times.
During these uncertain times.
In uncertain times.
In uncertain times. Uncertain times.
Unprecedented times.
And unsettling times. And so these brands want to make you feel like a kid again. They want you to feel like, it's Sunday after church or something and you're going to get a burger from Burger King. Or like, for me, I'm a huge Taco Bell fan, and many of you guys know this, but I'm obsessed with Taco Bell. They had when the Phantom Menace was coming out, so Star Wars Episode 1, they were actually carrying little action figures.
Right now, at participating Taco Bell locations, you can get one of these cool Star Wars Episode 1 collectible toys.
So for me, Taco Bell, Star Wars Phantom Menace, and the taste and smell of a soft taco just instantly brings me back to childhood, instantly makes me feel like a kid again. And so that's what these brands are really trying to do. So at least call it for what it is. Let's recognize it for what it is. It's really, really fascinating. The firm that is responsible for the rebrand is called JKR Global, otherwise known as Jones, Knowles, and Ritchie. Now, I could be pronouncing one of those names wrong, so I apologize if I do, but you deserve a lot of credit, y'all. When you do a big franchise like this, there's a lot of moving pieces, and there's not just one person approving this work, right? There's like committees of people, and I don't know if y'all designers or if you've worked at an agency or a studio. I'm a senior designer. I work at a local design studio, and I know that there's a huge difference when we work with a client who is an individual business owner and they need to approve the logo versus committee approval, right? Where somebody is listening to your pitch, they take that logo and take it back to a committee, show, maybe 10 people, they give feedback, and then that person brings you back the feedback. Those are very, very different. And so, man, it is not easy when you're doing these big franchises. There's a lot at stake and a lot to lose, and man, just a lot of moving pieces, like I said. And so Lisa Smith, who's actually the executive creative director at Jones, Knowles, and Ritchie, explained the use of design in this major rebranding project. Here's the quote. "We wanted to use design to close the gap between the negative perceptions people have of fast food and the positive reality of our food story by making the brand feel less synthetic, artificial, and cheap, and more real, craveable, and tasty." And so as you can see already, they're playing to, obviously we all know Burger King is not healthy, right? Like you and I both agree that Burger King is not healthy, but there are things and elements, and there's an organic nature of the new typeface and all those different things that it's really greenwashing, right? So they make you feel like, man, this has to be a bit healthier than it was before because this new brand identity, when the reality is that it's not. And now this doesn't happen right away. But my son, I have a son, he's about to be 4 months, his name's Theo. He'll grow up in a world where Burger King looks a little bit more organic and a little bit more natural. And so he might have a different perspective of Burger King because he doesn't have the vantage point that I have of growing up. So the logo that we see today, that if you went to Burger King, you would see kind of this blue swoosh, and then you would see the burger, it says Burger King, and then on the buns, you kind of have these two little like flashes of light kind of showing glare. And so one of the things that they made it a point to remove was blue, right? So when you think of food, when you think of your burger, you definitely don't think of blue, because blue resembles mold or like resembles gross, right? It's just not a color that strikes hunger. It's a huge reason why they got rid of the blue. So the blue had to go. And even the buns, like I said, there's a little glare on each bun that shows like the sheen of light. When was the last time you had a shiny bun? Now, I do know some restaurants have those nice buns with the glaze, and if you shine a light on it, it's gonna glare a little. But buns don't glare. Like a savory bun, it's not. If you got them shiny buns, then I don't know. You gotta show me, yeah. Yes. So they got rid of the glare. They got rid of, the blue, and ultimately they really thought, man, what is going to make people hungry and feel that sense of nostalgia? And so the logo that they chose was a previously existing logo that they kind of gave a fresh twist to and a fresh perspective on and a fresh take on, right? It's the Pete perspective. It's about a fresh perspective. That's what Burger King is doing, y'all. They're taking something old, reinventing it, and making it new. I just did a video, a couple weeks ago about a Super Nintendo thing. It's a portable Super Nintendo system. So you can play your old Super Nintendo games on a portable system. It's the same idea. It's a new experience with old nostalgic games that you love and adore. So kudos to you, Burger King, for understanding that. That's a big deal. The illustrations were done by a duo, an illustration dynamic duo called Cachet Jack. I don't know. But the duo is Nuria Belver and Raquel Fanjul. Now, I'm probably butchering those names, but they're just two of my favorite, illustrators. I follow them on Instagram, and they're both two Spanish freelancers that kind of make up this duo of illustration that they do a lot of big work for big clients. And so they've kind of established themselves and distinguished themselves in the illustration industry. And they're getting paid probably pretty well, which is awesome. And so able to kind of take all of the illustrations. I don't think they did any of the motion graphics, but they did the illustration work, and then probably handed that to motion designers who took all the illustrations and made a move and do all that cool stuff with it. So that's pretty awesome. The next thing I want to touch on is the typeface. Now, the typeface is called Flame, and there's a ton of different variants, which is awesome. You need that when you're creating a brand, right? When you're going to create a brand, you're not just looking for what's going to work for the logo, but you're also going to think about, okay, what am I going to use for body copy and for headlines and subheads and captions, right? So whatever font choice and type that you choose and you go with when you're creating a big brand like this, it has to work on every level. And so as opposed to looking for the perfect font, Jones, Knowles, and Ritchie, they made their own. They essentially took it and took some of the typeface and the identity and the characteristics from the original Burger King mark that they kind of recycled and made that into a font called Flame, which is probably exclusive to Burger King, unless you torrent it online. So shout out to all my people who remember LimeWire, FrostWire, Napster, and uTorrent. We were all criminals. Guys, we were all criminals back in the day. You know what I'm talking about. Here's another quote from Smith. She says, obviously sans serifs have fallen into what has become a trend of blanding, right? Not branding, blanding, where there's nothing distinctive about that brand. Smith says, the idea with developing this typeface Flame was that it led us back to creative principles of mouth-watering and having the irreverence evoke natural organic shapes of food. It looks a little bit squishy and delicious, so you can almost taste the typeface. I love that. I love her sales pitch of the typeface. So much of what we do as designers, I would say there's a very small percentage of design, right, that you do. You execute. You have to do that as a designer. You're executing the design. You're doing the design work. But the majority of what I do and what I focus on, and us as a team, I'm, like I said, I work at a local design agency. We focus on selling it, right? Like, we work together and we take time and set aside time to work on our communication and the way we speak about a brand. And so when you see this, she's saying words like, natural, organic, it's a bit squishy and delicious. Like, those are words that you can almost feel, right? And so that's exciting because that tells me that Jones, Knowles, and Ritchie, that they're selling the work that they're doing. It's not just like, hey, look at this cool creative that we did. It's no, we're gonna sell you on it. And I think that's such a missing piece for some designers. They're really excellent at creating, but when it comes to selling the work, they have no idea how to use language as a tool and kind of become a linguistic savant, if you will. Last thing I want to touch on is uniforms, and the uniforms are great. It's pretty much all brown. They have a couple colors around the collar and whatnot, and so I dig it. I dig, they show some examples with some of the folks who have little pins and stuff on the collars, which is kind of cool. And so I have a collection of pins and buttons from all of my life, from thrift stores to going to specific locations and getting a keepsake, whatever. I would definitely go to my local Burger King right now and pick up a pin if they were selling it. So BK all day.
I can do this all day.
Come on, don't do that.
All day, son.
Come on, man, don't put your head in there. Don't put your head in
All
there.
day.
And here's the last thing I want to note is that a lot of this stuff, because Burger King is such a huge, conglomerate, they're a very big company. This stuff isn't just going to happen overnight. So don't expect to see any of these rebrand things happen at your local Burger King anytime soon. I mean, not only does Burger King have to push out all the content, but they've explicitly said that they're not going to use new packaging until all of their old packaging is done, and that they're being good stewards of what they have, which I appreciate. Not only that, but they also have to sell this idea to all the franchisees, right? If I'm a franchisee owner, I don't necessarily have to rebrand and put new signage up and redo my building, right? That costs a lot of money. I don't have to do that. I think a good franchisee owner will eventually come around and kind of buy in to the new Burger King brand and kind of express their support for it. I think it's important. And if I was a franchisee owner, I would definitely try to do it if I could financially. I mean, that makes the most sense. And so yeah, there's a lot more information about the case studies and different things, and you're going to be able to look into. I'm going to make sure that I put the link to the case study in the description so that you guys can take a look at it for yourself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. What do you guys think of the new brand? I'm a fan. Honestly, I'm a fan of it. And I haven't eaten dinner yet. It's about 8:51, so I'm probably going to go out and get some food. Maybe I'm going to get some Burger King. If I do, I'm going to post a picture so that you guys can see it. But anyways, I hope you guys are staying well and doing safe. Remember that your perspective matters, my perspective matters, and sometimes you just need a fresh perspective. So I'll catch you on the next video. Take care. Peace.